Welcome to Cults and Secret Societies. I'm your host, Ben Carter. In a dimly lit room, the air is thick with anticipation and a tinge of fear. A group of people huddle together, their breaths shallow and eyes wide, fixated on the figure standing at the room's head. The figure, their leader, whispers into the silence, his voice carrying a weight that seems to push the air out of the room. He speaks of an apocalypse, a catastrophe looming on the horizon. He tells them that only they, the chosen few, will survive. He speaks of a prophecy, a date when the world as they know it would cease to exist. It's December 31st, 1999, the infamous Y2K. However, as we now know, the year 2000 arrived, and the world did not end. The computers didn't crash, planes didn't fall from the sky, and nuclear power plants didn't melt down. The world breathed a collective sigh of relief, but for the members of this cult, the relief was short-lived. Their leader, undeterred, stood once again before them, speaking of a miscalculation, a minor error in their interpretation of the prophecy. This scenario, as chilling as it might sound, is not an isolated incident. Throughout history, numerous doomsday cults have prophesied the end of the world, only to see their predictions fall flat as time marches on. Yet, they often persist, reshaping their narratives, recalculating their dates, and refusing to quit. To understand why and how these cults continue to exist and thrive, we need to delve deeper into their structure, beliefs, and the psychology of their members. Let's begin our journey with the story of one such cult, the Seekers, which gained notoriety in the 50s. This group, led by a Chicago housewife named Dorothy Martin, predicted a catastrophic flood on December 21, 1954. When the prophecy failed, instead of disbanding, the group became even stronger. This phenomenon, where failed prophecies often strengthen the beliefs of cult members, is a fascinating aspect of human psychology. It's often referred to as cognitive dissonance, a term coined by social psychologist Leon Festinger while he was studying the Seekers. Cognitive dissonance is the discomfort one feels when trying to hold two contradictory beliefs at the same time. In the case of doomsday cults, this discomfort often leads them to reinterpret their prophecies, thus preserving their belief system. As we dig deeper into the world of doomsday cults, we'll uncover more stories, more failed prophecies, and the unsettling resilience of these groups. We'll explore the dark allure of these cults, the hold they have over their members, and the lengths they go to maintain their belief in the face of undeniable reality. But to truly understand them, we must first take a look at the roots of prophecy and the human fascination with the end times. The Seekers were born in the middle of the 20th century, a time ripe with upheaval and fear. The world was recovering from the devastating impacts of World War II and entering the Cold War era, a time marked by tension, suspicion, and the ever-present threat of nuclear destruction. Culturally, people were grappling with an existential crisis, seeking answers and reassurances in a world that seemed teetering on the brink of disaster. This environment, fraught with fear and uncertainty, was the perfect breeding ground for a doomsday cult like the Seekers. The group was formed in Chicago, Illinois, and was led by Dorothy Martin, a housewife with no formal religious training, but an evident charisma and a knack for convincing others of her spiritual insights. Martin claimed to receive messages from extraterrestrial beings through automatic writing, a process where the writer is believed to be guided by an external spiritual force. Through these messages, she prophesied the end of the world in a catastrophic flood that was to occur on December 21, 1954. The Seekers, like many other doomsday cults, were not just an isolated group of fanatics. They were a reflection of the broader society's anxieties and fears. The Cold War, the threat of nuclear annihilation, and the rapid pace of technological change created a climate of fear and uncertainty that made apocalyptic prophecies seem plausible, even inevitable. At the same time, the seekers offered a sense of community, purpose, and certainty to their members. The group's teachings provided a clear, albeit terrifying, explanation for the turbulence of the times. They offered a sense of power and control in a world that seemed increasingly chaotic and unpredictable. They offered the promise of salvation, an escape from the impending disaster. They also provided a tight-knit community of like-minded believers who supported each other in their shared convictions. The seekers were not just a product of their time, but also of a long-standing human fascination with the end times. From ancient cultures to modern societies, the end of the world has been predicted, feared, and even welcomed. This fascination with the apocalypse is often tied to periods of social, political, or cultural upheaval when the existing order is threatened and the future is uncertain. Understanding the origins and historical context of the Seekers and other doomsday cults like them can help us understand their enduring appeal and resilience in the face of failed prophecies. It can shed light on the psychological mechanisms that allow these groups to persist and even thrive, despite the evident contradictions in their beliefs. As we continue to explore the world of doomsday cults, we will delve deeper into these mechanisms and the complex interplay between individual psychology, group dynamics, and broader societal influences. Dorothy Martin, the founder and leader of the Seekers, was a charismatic figure who claimed to be in direct contact with superior beings from the planet Clarion. This connection was cultivated through automatic writing, a process in which Martin would enter a trance-like state, and her hand would move seemingly of its own accord, producing messages from the extraterrestrial beings. The messages were often cryptic and filled with apocalyptic warnings, which Martin interpreted and shared with her followers. Martin was not a figure of spiritual authority in a traditional sense. She did not claim to be a prophet or a messiah, but rather a conduit through which the superior beings communicated their wisdom. This allowed her to maintain a humble, unassuming persona, which enhanced her credibility among her followers. Her charisma and conviction, combined with her seemingly supernatural abilities, made her a compelling and persuasive leader. The belief system of the Seekers was a blend of various religious and spiritual traditions, as well as elements of science fiction and popular culture. They believed in the existence of a spiritual dimension, populated by superior beings, and they believed that these beings were guiding humanity towards a new era of enlightenment and peace. They also believed in the existence of advanced civilizations on other planets, which were watching over Earth and intervening in its affairs to prevent its destruction. At the heart of the Seekers' belief system was the prophecy of the Great Flood. According to Martin's messages, the Earth was going to be destroyed in a deluge on December 21, 1954. However, the superior beings had a plan to save a chosen few. They were going to send spaceships to whisk away the faithful Seekers just before the cataclysm. This prophecy served not only as a warning, but also as a test of faith. The Seekers were expected to prepare for the end, to give up their worldly possessions and attachments, and to dedicate themselves completely to the cause. They were expected to trust in Martin's messages and in the superior being's promise of salvation. Sharing of these beliefs was done primarily through intimate, small group sessions led by Martin. These sessions were often emotionally intense, fostering a sense of shared experience and reinforcing the group's cohesion. The Seekers did not actively recruit new members, but those who expressed interest and demonstrated commitment were welcomed into the fold. In the lead-up to the predicted Doomsday, the Seekers attracted the attention of the media and the public. However, they did not seek this attention, and they did not attempt to proselytize or convince the non-believers. They simply continued their preparations, confident in their beliefs and in their impending salvation. Even when the predicted apocalypse failed to materialize, the group did not disband. Instead, they reinterpreted the prophecy, attributing the failed prediction to their own spiritual growth and the world's need for more time to prepare for the end. As is often the case with groups like the Seekers, their actions and beliefs did not go unnoticed by those with a predilection for conspiracy theories. These theorists suggested that the Seekers' activities were part of a larger, hidden agenda, one that was far more complex and sinister than a simple belief in a forthcoming apocalypse. One of the most prominent theories suggested the Seekers were part of a larger global network of similar groups, all operating under the influence of extraterrestrial entities. These theorists posited that the messages Martin claimed to receive were not spiritual revelations, but rather coded instructions from these otherworldly beings aimed at orchestrating a large-scale transformation of human society. The Seekers, according to this theory, were essentially puppets, manipulated by an unseen hand to prepare the world for a future under alien control. Another theory suggested that the Seekers were a front for a secretive government organization, aimed at testing the public's response to extreme beliefs and to gauge how easily individuals could be swayed by charismatic leaders. Some theorists even proposed that Martin herself was a government agent, planted within the group to manipulate its members and monitor their actions. Both these theories painted the Seekers as unwitting pawns in a larger game, their genuine beliefs exploited for nefarious purposes. Whether by alien overlords or shadowy government agencies, these theorists claim that the Seekers were being used as a tool to control, influence, or deceive the public. Yet another conspiracy theory suggested that the Seekers' failed Doomsday prophecy was an elaborate hoax designed to discredit other fringe groups and alternative beliefs. By associating all non-mainstream beliefs with the ridiculousness of a false Doomsday prediction, these theorists argued, the powers that be could easily dismiss and ridicule any group that strayed from the accepted norms. While these theories might seem far-fetched, they reflect a common thread in conspiracy thinking: the idea that there are hidden forces at work in the world, manipulating events and people for their own ends. Whether these forces are extraterrestrial in nature or part of the human establishment, the idea is that nothing is as it seems, and that those who appear to be in control might be mere puppets on invisible strings. In the end, the true nature of the Seekers' beliefs and their ultimate purpose may remain a mystery. Yet, their story offers a fascinating glimpse into the world of alternative beliefs, charismatic leaders, and the powerful allure of prophecies, even when they fail. The symbols, codes, and secret knowledge associated with the Seekers were as complex and enigmatic as the group itself. These rituals and emblems were vital components of the group's identity, serving to both unify the members and separate them from the outside world. By delving into these coded elements, we can gain a deeper understanding of the group's beliefs and practices, and how they sustained the faith of their followers even after their prophecy failed. The Seekers' main symbol was the circular emblem, representing the cyclical nature of time and their belief in the eternal return. This emblem was often illustrated with a series of concentric circles, hinting at a nested hierarchy of cosmic knowledge and the group's belief in multiple layers of reality. The circles were typically depicted with a single point in the center, symbolizing the divine source of all knowledge and existence. The Seekers would often form a circle during their rituals, mirroring this emblem and signifying their unity and shared purpose. There was also a coded language used by the Seekers, which they believed had been gifted to them by the extraterrestrial beings they revered. This language, full of cryptic phrases, served to obscure their discussions from outsiders and reinforce the sense of a shared, secret knowledge among the group. For instance, they referred to the anticipated apocalypse as the Great Cleansing, and the post-apocalyptic utopia they envisioned was termed the New Dawn. Rituals played a central role in the Seekers' practices. These rites were believed to prepare them for the coming apocalypse and their subsequent ascension to a higher plane of existence. One such ritual involved the group members standing in a circle and chanting in unison, while focusing their collective energies towards the center of the circle. They believed this practice would help them establish a psychic connection with the extraterrestrial beings guiding them. While the symbols and rituals of the Seekers might seem outlandish or even absurd to outsiders, they served a crucial role within the group. They created a sense of cohesion and solidarity among the members, reinforcing their shared beliefs and the group's distinct identity. They also served to maintain a sense of mystery and secrecy, which could enhance the allure of the group for potential recruits. Despite the failure of their Doomsday prophecy, these symbols, codes, and rituals helped to sustain the faith of the Seekers. They provided a framework of meaning and purpose, allowing the group members to reinterpret the prophecy's failure not as a sign of falsehood, but as a test of their faith and commitment. This is a testament to the power of belief and the lengths to which people will go to maintain their worldview, even in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Throughout history, there have been attempts to expose the Seekers and their unfounded beliefs. These endeavors often came from concerned family members, skeptical outsiders, and at times even former members who had managed to extricate themselves from the group's grasp. Law enforcement agencies also played a role in these efforts. Notably, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or FBI, had been monitoring the Seekers since their formation. The agency was concerned about the potential for mass suicides or violence, a fear not unfounded given the tragic events associated with other doomsday cults. However, these attempts to expose the Seekers were met with fierce resistance. The group had constructed an elaborate web of defense mechanisms designed to protect their belief system from outside scrutiny. Any criticism or questioning was labeled as persecution, further proof that they were the chosen ones. Anyone who dared to question the group's beliefs was swiftly labeled an enemy and shunned. There were also instances of disinformation. The Seekers were adept at spinning tales that would deflect from the truth. For example, when the predicted apocalypse did not occur, they claimed it was a test of faith rather than an incorrect prophecy. They often relied on vague, cryptic language to explain away inconsistencies or failures, thereby maintaining the illusion of infallibility. More worryingly, there were also threats. Those who sought to expose the group were often met with intimidation, both verbal and physical. One notable instance involved a journalist who had been investigating the group. After publishing a series of articles critical of the Seekers, the journalist received threats of violence and was forced to go into hiding for some time. Despite these challenges, attempts to expose the Seekers continued. A small but determined group of activists, composed of former members and relatives of current members, worked tirelessly to offer support to those wishing to leave the group. They also sought to raise public awareness about the dangers of the Seekers, in hopes of preventing others from falling prey to their manipulative tactics. In the face of such exposure, the Seekers doubled down on their belief system. They retreated further into their own world, reinforcing their us versus them mentality. The failed prophecy and the ensuing scrutiny only served to strengthen their resolve. They continued to cling to their beliefs, refusing to acknowledge any evidence to the contrary. In many ways, the story of the Seekers serves as a cautionary tale. It highlights the danger of unchecked belief systems and the lengths to which people will go to protect their worldview, even when faced with overwhelming evidence to the contrary. It is a sobering reminder of the power of belief and the potential for manipulation when such belief goes unchallenged. The Seekers' beliefs were rooted in an elaborate cosmology that was both esoteric and metaphysical. Central to their doctrine was the idea of a cosmic battle between forces of good and evil, playing out across multiple dimensions. This was not just a philosophical concept. They believed this battle was a tangible, actual event that had direct implications for human life on Earth. They held the view that humanity was currently living in the end times, a period of great turbulence and change. The world as we know it, they believed, was on the precipice of a dramatic shift. This impending apocalypse was not viewed with fear, but rather with a sense of hopeful anticipation. They believed the end of the world heralded the beginning of a new, utopian era. According to their teachings, this new world would be one of peace, unity, and spiritual enlightenment. The Seekers also claimed to be in contact with a group of advanced extraterrestrial beings. These beings, they asserted, were assisting humanity in its spiritual evolution. They were the ones who supposedly provided the prophecies and guidance that the Seekers followed. These beings were viewed as benevolent guides, and their messages were revered as divine authority. The Seekers' beliefs about the cosmos were equally intricate. They posited the existence of multiple dimensions and realms, inhabited by various kinds of entities. Human beings, they believed, were not merely physical creatures, but spiritual beings having a human experience. They taught that our physical reality was just one layer of existence, and that there were many other dimensions of reality beyond our own. In this belief system, the cosmos was seen as a vast, interconnected web of energy. Everything, from the smallest particle to the largest galaxy, was interconnected and interdependent. They believed that human thoughts and emotions had the power to influence this cosmic web, and therefore, the course of events in the world. This belief in the power of the mind was a major driving force behind their mission. They saw themselves as spiritual warriors, using their thoughts and intentions to influence the outcome of the cosmic battle. While these beliefs may seem outlandish to many, they were deeply compelling to the Seekers. The group's teachings offered a sense of purpose, meaning, and belonging that many members had not found elsewhere. These beliefs also provided a framework for interpreting the world and their place in it. In the face of a confusing and often chaotic world, the Seekers' cosmology offered a sense of order and certainty. Their conviction in these beliefs was so strong that it withstood failed prophecies, external criticism, and even threats of violence. While outsiders saw clear evidence of the group's fallibility, the Seekers themselves remained unswayed. Their faith in their beliefs, in their mission, and in their divine guides was unshakable. For them, these were not just beliefs, but indisputable truths. This uncompromising belief system was both their greatest strength and their most significant vulnerability. It provided them with the motivation to persist, but also blinded them to the realities of their situation. The influence of the Seekers' beliefs on modern culture and power structures is a fascinating study in how ideas can proliferate and evolve over time. While the specific details of the Seekers' cosmology might be unique to them, the core principles, interconnectivity, the power of the mind, and the existence of multiple dimensions, are not. In the world of media, these themes have been explored in countless science fiction and fantasy novels, films, and television shows. From the idea that our thoughts shape our reality, to the concept of parallel universes and alternate realities, these are key tropes in much of contemporary speculative fiction. While it's unlikely that any of these creators were directly influenced by the Seekers, it shows how these ideas have permeated our collective consciousness. In the realm of politics and finance, the Seekers' belief in the power of thought and intention to influence events can be seen in the rise of ideologies like positive thinking and the law of attraction. These philosophies, which emphasize the use of mental power to manifest success and wealth, have been adopted by many successful entrepreneurs and political figures. Again, while it's not to suggest a direct line of influence from the Seekers, it's interesting to note the parallels. In religion, the seeker's ideas about multiple dimensions and spiritual beings having a human experience are echoed in many New Age and esoteric teachings. These include the belief in ascended masters, spirit guides, and the concept of humans as spiritual beings on a journey of growth and evolution. These beliefs are now mainstream in many spiritual communities and have been incorporated into the teachings of various religious groups. In education, while the seeker's specific beliefs are not taught, their story serves as a valuable case study in psychology and sociology classes. It provides insight into the power of belief, the dynamics of groupthink, and the psychological mechanisms that allow people to maintain their beliefs in the face of contradictory evidence. In conclusion, while the seekers may not have achieved their goal of saving the world, their ideas have found a place in our culture. Their belief system, while unique in its specifics, taps into themes that resonate with many people. The search for meaning, the desire for connection, the power of the mind. In this way, their legacy lives on, influencing our collective imagination and shaping our understanding of the world. As we delve deeper into the intricate world of the seekers and similar doomsday cults, we encounter theories that are more outlandish and speculative. These theories stretch the boundaries of what most people consider plausible, but they are nonetheless integral aspects of these cults' belief systems. For example, there are suggestions that some of these doomsday cults might have been involved in occult rituals. The occult, a term which encompasses a wide range of beliefs and practices often associated with the supernatural or the magical, has been linked to cults and secret societies throughout history. While there is no concrete evidence to link the seekers to the occult, the group's belief in extraterrestrial beings and other dimensions certainly aligns with the esoteric and mystical themes often associated with occult practices. Another theory posits that these cults use mind control or mass manipulation techniques to attract and retain members. The seekers, like many other cults, had a charismatic leader who was able to convince followers of his prophetic abilities. Some suggest that this was achieved not through genuine spiritual insight, but through psychological manipulation, exploiting vulnerable individuals' need for purpose and community. Moving further into the realm of speculative theories, some argue that doomsday cults like the Seekers could have extraterrestrial origins. This theory, while certainly outlandish, is not completely without basis. The Seekers, after all, believed in extraterrestrial beings and predicted their arrival on Earth. Could it be that these beliefs were not simply the product of overactive imaginations, but hints at some otherworldly connection? It's also suggested that these cults might be part of a larger conspiracy, perhaps orchestrated by secretive organizations or even governments seeking to control or influence society. The Seekers, with their focus on imminent world destruction and subsequent salvation, certainly had the potential to create widespread panic or confusion. This theory, like the others, is based on speculation rather than hard evidence. Yet, it reflects the widespread distrust and suspicion that often surrounds secretive and controversial groups like the Seekers. These theories, radical as they may be, highlight the enigmatic nature of the Seekers and similar cults. They push us to question and challenge our understanding of the world, encouraging us to consider possibilities beyond the realms of conventional wisdom. While they might not provide definitive answers, they offer fascinating insights into the complexities of human belief and the lengths some people will go to make sense of a confusing and often chaotic world. As we look back on the tales of doomsday cults that wouldn't quit after the world survived, we are left with an intricate tapestry of human behavior, belief, and resilience. The Seekers and similar groups, with their unflinching faith in the face of failed prophecies, certainly make for fascinating case studies. And yet, Despite the wealth of anecdotal evidence and psychological insights gathered over the years, there remain many unanswered questions. We might never truly understand why followers of such groups continue to believe even when their prophesied doomsday comes and goes without event. Is it a case of cognitive dissonance, or the powerful allure of belonging and shared purpose? Or is there something more, some unseen force or influence that remains beyond our current comprehension? Could there be truths hidden in the teachings of these cults that we, as outsiders, fail to understand? After all, many of these groups, including the Seekers, believe in concepts that are far from mainstream, such as extraterrestrial life and alternate dimensions. While these ideas might seem outlandish to some, they are not without their supporters in the wider world. And what of the darker theories? Is there any truth to the idea that these groups could be part of a larger conspiracy? Or that they might employ mind control techniques to attract and retain members? These suspicions, while unproven, continue to cast a long shadow over our understanding of these groups, adding to their allure and mystery. While we may never uncover all the secrets of the Seekers and other doomsday cults, it's important that we continue to question and investigate. These groups offer a unique lens through which to view human behavior and belief, presenting a fascinating, if often troubling, side of our collective psyche. Their stories, while at times perplexing and unsettling, are a stark reminder of the lengths some people will go to make sense of an unpredictable and often chaotic world. So as we conclude our journey into the world of doomsday cults, we are left with more questions than answers. But perhaps that's the point. Perhaps these groups, with their unfathomable beliefs and unyielding faith, are meant to challenge us, to make us question our own understanding of the world. And while we may never fully comprehend their motivations or beliefs, their stories serve as a testament to the power and complexity of human belief, a reminder of the mysteries that lie just beyond the edge of our understanding. So we leave you with the echoes of these tales and the tantalizing mysteries they pose. For in the end, it is not the answers, but the questions that truly illuminate the enigma of human existence. And in the case of the Seekers and their ilk, those questions remain as intriguing and elusive as ever. Thanks for listening. This has been Cults and Secret Societies. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to the Forbidden Knowledge Network on Patreon. Subscribe now.